So his 3-day mucus cleanse is actually pretty interesting because he starts with just prune juice in the morning, and then he alternates fruit juice and water every 30 minutes throughout the day. And then he also adds in a little bit of olive oil a couple times during the day, and that's how he starts his cleanse. This is out of order, sorry. We go to the next one and then we'll come back to this one. Sorry, there's got to be more, Dr. Christopher. I think there's 2 more in here. Keep going, keep going. There we go. Okay, so now he says the things you want to eliminate, because remember with these cleanses, there's things you're going to eat, things you're going to avoid. He wants you to avoid salt and eggs and sugar and red meat and dairy and flour. Pretty consistent in all the cleanses I've seen these things. He's the only one that specifically said salt, but all these other things are pretty consistent, and he bases his stuff off stuff that was done in China years and years ago. He wants you to add into your diet cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is really great. It's a really good antioxidant. Also, anything that's hot in the body helps it heal. So 1 teaspoon 3 times a day. He does honey and apple cider vinegar. Kelp is also very good, molasses and wheat germ. So these are the different supplements he would add to this. Yeah. Okay, so the one thing I want you guys to take away from this is I just want you to think about how changing your diet can be very empowering, and how doing something simple like choosing what you buy and choosing what you eat and choosing what you take into a body can literally change your life in a good way. Avoiding processed sugars is going to be helpful. Using mostly plant-based oils is really great. The body will process oil much better than it will process sugar. And I know that years ago all the food companies went fat-free, and what they did when they took out the fat was they threw in the sugar, and now we're all diabetic. So plant-based oils and fats are okay. If it's a plant-based fat, go for it, enjoy it, it's fine. The sugar is what's going to get you. Our body doesn't handle this well. Avoid dairy to the best extent that you can, and take with this what you want. If you do fine on dairy and you love it and you do great, don't worry. A lot of people don't do great on dairy. I would say probably most of my patients that come off cleanses, I'd say more than half of them find out that they can't handle dairy once they've been off it for 3 or 4 weeks. They just can't handle it. They get so sick if they take it. So there's got to be something here. I'm not sure what it is. Avoid your processed flours. Avoid your processed foods. Kind of think that if you have to unwrap it, probably isn't something you really want to be eating a lot of. But if it's something you can pull out of your garden or just grab and wash and eat, it's probably going to be a little better for you. Eat more raw food. I think we cook the heck out of our food. I think that if you can remember to cook slow and low, try not to cook things as much, and it doesn't mean you're eating raw meat. That's not the point. It's more like don't microwave your vegetables for 20 minutes or something like that. You know, just put them in your crock pot. Cook them nice and slow. Get them soft, but don't cook the nutrients out of your food. It doesn't do you any good to eat fruits and vegetables if you cook them to where there's nothing left for you to enjoy. Eat more real food, eat less dead food. I love this because this is what Dr. Christopher says over and over in his book. He calls anything that isn't raw and real and just like an apple or spinach or something, he calls it dead. There's no nutrients in it. It's just dead food. Why would you eat dead food is what he says all the time. Because he considers it to be devoid of nutrition. And his whole idea of eating is eating for the nutrition, not just eating because you're eating. So, and then foods that will naturally detox the body. This is a pretty good list. And you'll notice that these will mostly be in the detox programs you're looking at. Fruits are really great antioxidants. They're also full of a lot of fluid, and the antioxidants in the fruit will flush out the gut, which is nice. Anything that's a green food, kale, spinach, any of your green leafy vegetables are going to be great. Lemons, oranges, and limes are citrus. The acid in the citrus helps cleanse the body. Garlic is amazing. It is full of enzymes. This has been used for generations and generations. Broccoli sprouts, green tea, any of your beans that are dark, anything that's a really red bean or a really black bean, anything that's really dark is going to be good. Anything that's a lighter color probably isn't going to be your best bean. Go for the dark ones, really deep colored beans. Seeds and nuts are fantastic. They're good. Remember, this is all plant-based oils. And then anything that's an omega-3 oil is really good too. So.
Can I ask a quick question? You said broccoli. I've been told that's bad for people with thyroid issues.
You know, I hear stuff like that all the time. I hear also that you shouldn't have certain things if you've had your gallbladder out. I mean, I hear these things all the time, and I don't really see anything that correlates with serum levels. So I follow serum levels pretty good when I'm treating different diseases, and I really encourage all of those foods. I encourage really, really raw eating, and broccoli and kale and any of your cruciferous vegetables, your cabbages. I mean, all those things, you want those, your cucumbers. And they're all in the same family, right? And so I don't see that, and I'm not sure what the case would be. I don't know if there's a link between that and iodine, but I I don't think that I've seen anything like that. I'm not sure what the link would be, but I would probably just be careful. Maybe eat broccoli and then get your blood level checked. And if your levels are all messed up, maybe there is something to the way your body absorbs it, but I haven't seen that link. I take thyroid medication, I eat broccoli like crazy, and I haven't found a problem with me. I've tried most of this stuff, and I think that it's okay. You know what I mean? I think it's okay. So try it and see. Also, your water, these are toxins in your home, sorry. Just try to control your toxins. Basically, that's it. Why do a cleanse and then go home to your house and take in all your toxins, right? So these are things that you can control in your house. Plastic is one thing I don't think a lot of us truly understand. I know that the PBA thing came out about a year or two ago, and a lot of people paid attention because they were careful with their baby bottles and they were careful with their water bottles. But I don't think people truly understand plastics. Plastics are very, very, very dangerous for us because of the toxins that leak into the food when we use them. Plastics are also full of different types of phytoestrogens. So for women, if we cook our food in plastic in our microwave, which now takes out all of our nutrients, and then we go ahead and drink our water out of our plastic water bottles that aren't PBA free, and then we wrap our food in plastic and put it in the fridge, if we're using plastics like crazy, we are now exposing ourselves to a lot more estrogen than we really need. A lot of girls are starting to mature much earlier in America. Our periods used to start when we were 14, now it's 12. I see girls that are 10. It's environmental, it's not genetic. So the environment that we live in, the environment we expose our children to, the estrogens that are out there are really causing a lot of changes in our kids. They're maturing younger because they're having access to estrogens younger. So don't cook your food in plastic. Get glass. Don't store your food in plastic. Use glass. Don't drink out of water bottles unless they're PBA free. You know, do your best to control the little things. If you can't do it all, pick one thing you want to do. But plastics would be something to be, you'd want to focus on, probably. Generally good cleansing habits, drinking a lot of water. Hydrotherapy. This is something I didn't mention before, but a lot of the cleanses talk about hot and cold showers. You're in the shower when it's hot, you make it really cold, then you go hot and you go cold. And athletes do this all the time with their lower extremities. Runners do this all the time. They'll go from the hot tub to the cold pool to the hot tub and the cold pool because of the way it shocks the system and affects the circulation. Dry brush your skin, exfoliate, sweating through exercise or sauna use. Breathing's important. You got to breathe. And I think a lot of times we just forget to breathe. And when you get busy or anxious and you're running around like crazy, just take a minute to breathe. Give yourself 5 or 10 seconds of just breathing in and breathing out. It's incredibly calming, and it actually helps the adrenal gland recover for a minute. Antioxidants that I love are these. I don't think we take enough antioxidants to protect ourselves from the toxins in the world. Vitamin C, minimally, you should be getting at least 1,000 a day in 2 divided doses of 500. Vitamin E, you can easily take up to 800 of this in 2 divided doses of 400. And then I really, really encourage really high doses of vitamin D. You have to remember that we do not absorb a lot of the things that we eat. As we get older, we do not convert the vitamin D in the sun into anything useful for us. And vitamin D is amazing. It's actually going to be reclassified as a hormone in the next year or two because it actually prevents cancer. They're using it in the cancer centers now as first-line cancer treatment, and it's amazing because of the antioxidant effect at getting rid of cancer and preventing cancer in our cells. It also will protect us, all of us, women and men, from osteoporosis. If we can keep our vitamin D levels really high, the body will not be able to break down our bones. And if we can't break down our bones, they'll be nice and strong forever. I mean, there are parts to aging that are going to affect all of us equally, but there are things we can do to protect ourselves and age better. Vitamin D is one of them. Drinking green tea is great. Dandelion root, garlic, milk thistle, these are all great antioxidants. These will be in almost every cleanse you'll find anywhere. Apple cider vinegar is just amazing and great, and I have to tell you that my dad thinks I'm kind of out there a little bit when I talk about health and nutrition, and I've cooked him some of the things I cook, and I've had him try different things, and he thought I was kind of nuts until he saw me use apple cider vinegar one day. And as soon as he saw me use that, all of a sudden I had validity because my grandpa took it and he still takes it every day. And once he saw that Bragg's apple cider vinegar on my counter, all of a sudden it didn't matter what I did. I was using that, so it must be good because he's been using it forever. And I think this is something that I think the generations did use because it does have very good antioxidant powers. 12 to 14 hour fast from food. Don't eat for 12 hours. Just don't eat for 12 hours. Break your fast with warm water. A little bit of lemon in it, followed by some fruit. This is one thing I saw about 80% of the cleanses. I think that when you break your fast, you don't want to just run around and eat something really quick. I think something about adding the warm water is calming to the body, doesn't shock the system. Something about adding a little bit of that citric acid in and then adding a little bit of fruit in kind of gets the body moving, it gets the juices in the body flowing. And then of course, primarily, this is kind of what you want to eat. You know, you want to have a garden, you know, you want to grow something, you want to go pick it, you want to go eat it. You know, you want to do those kinds of things. I think that the more raw food you eat, the less it's processed, the more natural it is, and the more it's in its form that was closest to what it should have been, that's the way you want to eat it. So,
on your vitamins, real quick, is there a certain type? Because it seems like most people eliminate most of the vitamins. So, I mean, like, do you promote whole food vitamins, or what is it that?
I think that most vitamins are okay as long as they are more encapsulated and they're more micronized. So if it looks more powdery, it's going to absorb much better. The less work your body has to do to break it down, the better. I love liquid forms. I love organic food irons that are liquid. I think anything you can put under your tongue that your body will absorb right into the serum is good. I love B12 under the tongue. I love iron in a liquid form. Vitamin C is hard to get in a powdery form. It's just a hard pill. So that one you need to at least break into 2 divided doses. Your body will not absorb 1,000, but it'll absorb 500 pretty easily. Same with calcium. You know, women, we should be taking about 1,200 a day and more if we don't drink a lot of dairy or get a lot of calcium from our spinach and our green vegetables. But if you take 1,200 at once, your body won't absorb it. But if you can do 600 in the morning, 600 at night, that's good as well. Dividing your doses up are good. I love vitamin D either in a drop form or in a micronized form. So branding-wise, you know, I think that most are going to be okay. I follow serum levels on my patients, so if they're wanting to get something at one over-the-counter place versus something that I've tried and I know works good for serum levels, I'll follow their vitamin D levels, and if they're not coming up, I'll encourage them to try something different because that isn't absorbing. Same with B12. So some of these things you'll want to follow. You know, it's nice to have kind of a health plan to know what you're looking for, what you want out of what you're taking. You will not absorb a lot of nutrients, especially if you have an unhealthy gut. But if you're a healthy person and you eat well, you will absorb most of your vitamins and you'll do okay. But athletes are notoriously anemic. Athletes burn through their red blood cells, they damage their muscles, they break their body down. You can eat fantastic and still be anemic as an athlete. So if you exercise a lot, or if you're an athlete, especially long distance, you're going to be anemic no matter what you do. So you're always going to want to take an iron and a B12 that way and watch your B vitamins for sure.
You can request your doctor to do a panel that way?
Oh yeah, you can have them check your B12, your ferritin is what I would check, not your iron. Your iron will typically be okay because it will steal from your ferritin. So you want to check your ferritin, which is your backup storage of iron. If ferritin's low, you've got a chronic anemia because your body's stealing from ferritin stores. You can always check for vitamin D. You can check for those. You know, calcium is one of those ones that's an interchangeable electrolyte, so it's going to interchange through the kidneys, through the muscles. It's going to change itself with protein and other, you know, positive and negative electrolytes in the body. So some of the ones that are specifically like a calcium or something like that, that's going to be harder, but you can definitely check for, I always check for B12, I always check for iron, and or ferritin, I always check for D. Those three I find are fundamentally, probably foundationally, one of the most important ones, and they're affordable for most people. You know, they're not too expensive, you know, but you can ask for those, absolutely, yeah. Okay, I think that was the end. That's it. Oh, no, go back to the last one. I think this is funny. I have to tell you this. Okay, Dr. Christy